Howdy, folks, howdy. Sean Brock here with you. Got what might be a familiar face to a lot of you and a very familiar name to probably everybody who's ever watched this channel. And this, my old buddy right here, Dale Owen, has come to sit in. And we had talked about doing this for years and just never had got around to it. And we finally making the time to do it. Me and Dale, we go back a few years. I remember first noticing him on Manlin Cafe. All of a sudden, there's this guy popped up in the guitar ads back when they still had them on there, and he'd have 5 and then 10 and then 15, then 20 high-end guitars, and I was like, who is this guy, man? Who's this Dale Owen guy? Lord, he's bought out.
Still trying to figure that out.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if either one of us knows much. They get outside of guitars, we don't know all that much about many things.
No, it's good to be able to fool a few people.
Well, yeah. But I ended up. I bought a guitar from Dale. I bought an Altman from him. He was dealing for Bob Altman and Jimmy Edmonds and a few other people, and had some nice
Thompson.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Bob and Larry Thompson, and had just a lot of nice. Man, he would have Caleb Smith. He would have a 40s guitars and 50s and 30s and. So I called him up and I said, man, I'm real interested in this Altman you've got, because I had sold one that was 2 serial numbers prior to it. And there was a collector that had this guitar on reverb, and I made him an offer. Well, Dale made him an offer, and we went back and forth sort of fighting one another on it and didn't know it at the time. But Dale ended up getting the guitar, and then he sold it to me. And then a couple of months later, a friend of mine had custom ordered an Altman, and Dale had handled the specs on it and things. And my buddy, I was, of course, still living in Texas, and my buddy said, why don't you fly up and go with me? We'll go visit Dale, and we'll go to Altman to pick up my guitar. And I did that, and we went over to Brevard, to the Adventure Village, Dale's establishment there, and he gave us a cabin, and we all sat around and picked guitars one right after another, and that was sort of the beginning of our relationship, and there was some guitars, real high-end guitars that Dale had, and I said, them guitars would sell pretty quick if people had the opportunity to hear them. And he said, well, if I send something to you, can you make a video of it and make it happen? I said, well, we'll try. And man, we've done a lot of guitars.
We got pretty good at it, didn't we?
We've done a lot of guitars. If people are new around here, I mean, there's over 200 videos, and so many of them are guitars that Dale handled. And
I remember overloading you one day. You just come back in from feeding the cattle. And I said, you want to buy some guitars off of Reverb today? He said, do you want to buy some off of Reverb? And I said, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to cool off. I didn't know what the cattle had done, but it had affected your morning anyway. That wasn't your morning.
Oh, man. We sent them all over the world: Australia, New Zealand, Germany, France, Austria, Switzerland, just all over the place. Singapore. I mean, just and things. People that have been around a while, at least in the guitar market, that big push during COVID, you couldn't hardly keep a guitar, for a few years, and then now, I guess inflation has had, an effect on the market. And then while while we were doing that, though, I think it's important for people to know we videoed a lot of guitars that we didn't need to video, just so people could hear them. And I was thinking about like Pre-War Guitar Company. Mm-hmm. I remember you saying, you know, there's a guy who traded me a Pre-War Guitar Company, just for an example. There's a guy who traded me a Pre-War Guitar Company East Indian herringbone, and I've got another guy that's already put a deposit wanting to buy it, but I want to stop by for you to video so people can hear what these Pre-War Guitar Company instruments sound like. And that was something that you didn't have to do. That was something that you did. And I remember at the time, and this has been a few years ago, and you said, I think it's important for the consumer and for the industry for people to be able to know what these products sound like.
The Pre-War Guitar Company people, they basically just trade money. If one is $200 higher than what it can be bought new for, they would rather just trade dollar for dollar.
Right.
Well, when we went in and done the video, and we done the extra shipping, and we done the video and everything, it run the price up a little bit. And I ate part of it, and then my purpose was to put it out there anyway. And it was kind of looked down on at the time because my guitars was $200 or $300 higher.
Right.
But now, when somebody wants to know what a Pre-War Guitar Company guitar sounds like, they go back to those videos.
Right. Well, and I think too, I don't know how other people operate, but I would rather spend $200 more and be able to hear the guitar and be able to get the guitar now as opposed to wait for 2 years.
Yeah, and get
guitar.
A return policy too.
And you did the 7-day return policy. I remember there was a gentleman, and I won't say his name because I don't know if he would want me to. But he's been a friend of the channel and a friend of Dale Showstoppers for a long time. And he called me up with some questions about a guitar. It was about $35,000 guitar. And we talked about it, and he said, I'm just sort of on the fence. I don't know if it's really what I want or not. And he said, I'm concerned about sending this kind of money to a guy. How do I know I'll get my guitar? Or if I don't like it, how do I know I'll get my money back? And I said, you'll get your money back. You'll get your money back. And he bought the guitar, got it, and within 2 days he decided he didn't like it. He called you and he said, well, I'm afraid, blah, blah, blah. He beat around the bush, and you said, well, let me send you a label, and I'll start your refund on your money. When you come across something else you think you want, you let me know.
My shipping cost is less.
Yeah.
And so I can handle everything for them and save them. They've already got the box, they've already got the pack, and they already know what to do. All they got to do is put it back in there, and I give them a label, and then where it might have cost. And see, I'm insured,
right?
And the my insurance for shipping is $30,000. But if I want to ship a $200,000 guitar, then I've got a waiver that I just give them $150 and they cover the guitar.
Right.
So I can protect everybody, and still the bottom line, the money they get back is nearly everything.
Right. And we found I remember there was a time we bought some guitars from a dealer up in the Northeast that they had a return policy and they didn't honor it.
Oh yeah, we've not bought nothing from them. I don't
Well,
think,
it's kind of funny, you know, how some people honors a return policy and some people don't.
Well, you got employees that are working on commission,
right,
and they don't want to lose that. They've done spend it somewhere is probably the commission,
right,
and it's just different whenever the buck stops with you.
Right,
know.
right. And then, of course, you know, as the market slowed down, we saw it slowing down, and I remember a friend of mine. He called up and he said, "What's the matter? Can't you guys sell no guitars anymore?" And I said, "There's a time to stop selling as many guitars." And he waited. He waited, and he got stuck with some guitars, and you know, where we kind of knew we saw the market slowing up, and you shifted into vintage stuff, into the 30s herringbones, and well, you know, the 40s. They had a lot of 40s Martins and some 50s, and you just sort of changed the focus of what you were doing a little bit.
When you're dealing with mass production sales, and you've got Guitar Center that'll finance them for you.
Yeah.
And Martin's got availability, and a lot of people want a guitar that's got Martin wrote on it. And so when it come down to where that we were bringing stuff in and having to compete with the whole world to sell it, then it made it hard, because we wanted to do videos of every guitar so that people knew ahead of time what to expect. And the way you do the videos is exactly the way the guitars sound when they come to me or anybody else. And but it was mass production competition, and I think probably the thing that put the brakes on that the fastest is when I thought that the Madagascar Authentic D-28, I thought it was so superior to the East Indian Rosewood, and but yet I started to buy up a bunch of the Madagascar. I mean, that's how much I was so sure that was the way it would go.
Yeah.
Well, I maybe wound up with half a dozen or something, but people wanted something new.
Mm-hmm.
They want something different, and but to me, Martin's best guitar in the modern era is still the Madagascar.
Well, and it's something, you know, how the 06, 07 D-18 Authentics, how they fell down in value, and then they came back up. Well, and then Martin starts manufacturing the D-18, the 37 Authentic again.
Yeah, and raised the price $1,000.
Right.
You know.
Now, if you want one that's aged, you know, it's something you can get on Reverb and sell them for like $85.99. You know, is the advertised price.
Yeah.
And then you can flip around and see where somebody will be selling the same exact guitar used for, you know, $4,000, $5,000. I even seen one on there for $3,800.
And my opinion is the best one was still made between 2005 and 2012.
Yeah.
So we can't act like Martin and get by with it, because they tend to be able to pull themselves out of some decisions that. But I remember you saying one time. Well, we had a few struggles with some competition, And I said, I think they want us to go out of business. And you said, well, we might do that, but we can't afford a guitar.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wait a while on that.
That's right. Yeah.
But when I went to vintage, it just opened up a whole new world.
Right.
And little things add up to a lot of decline in the price. And but just like it seemed like we was always blessed, we got in with a guy that had them in a vault for 30 years.
Right.
And kept them temperature and humidity control, and just a little pick guard cracks, neck sets, just small stuff like that. And we had we have and have had premium herringbone guitars from the 30s.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that, they say that's the holy grail or the pinnacle of it all. And it's, well, there ain't been anybody just do any better. There hasn't been anybody who's, that's what people are still building guitars after. But, you didn't, even though you went into the vintage stuff, you didn't lose all interest in modern stuff, because you ended up starting this USA Luthier page on Facebook. And I remember when you called and told me that you were going to start that, and I said, well, that's neat. Well, why are you doing that? And you said, well, just that way people who are established or people who are just starting can have a community where their stuff, they can post their stuff, other people can post guitars they buy from them, and just introduce us.
Put your website up on there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't nothing. There's no way. The only people who can make money off of that are basically the Luthiers, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And the buyer's going to save money because he's going to know where to go the first time.
Right.
So he's not having to flip his way around to get to where he wants to go.
And so you did that, and that was kind of I guess a thing. You wanted to run it where people were respectful to one another and where people would share knowledge, maybe with a newcomer or with anybody. I mean, because none of us know everything, so where people could share knowledge and experiences without somebody coming and beating up on them over the computer.
It's a group of people that have very little discussion.
Yeah.
Because the more discussion that you get on a forum, the more people that try to take control of it, right, and try to dominate it. And so when I started it and people wanted to join, then that's what we wanted. We wanted everybody to join, and I don't think I've ever had to say anything to anybody about talking too much or anything on it. But the more talk that they are, the more it winds up being somebody dominating the forum.
Right.
And so we just didn't want that. We've got over 1,000 members, and there's been a lot of knowledge that I've got from that. And matter of fact, whenever I started that, at that particular time, I didn't know that I was personally going to make a collection myself.
Right, yeah, I know. I remember.
And so when I started it, and I got to meeting these people, and I saw an immediate change between my relationship with the Luthier directly because I was advertising for them, and
wasn't getting nothing from it.
no, and I visited them, and we got to be closer friends, and the thing that left me amazed is how much the personality of a person winds up in what they build.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I just kept an open door, and I don't know how many I planned on having in the collection, but I think it may be up around 15 or something, isn't it?
It's getting close to that, yeah.
Yeah, and we've still got Caleb Smith. He'll come in late fall or early winter. I think Wayne's about done, and we've got that put on Boutique Guitars and Gear and on USA.
Right.
About every step of that bill, because Jonathan Parker, he took pictures and he sent them to me just out of the gratitude of his heart. And they saw a guitar go together. I mean,
right.
When Wayne buckled down on that guitar, and it's going to be a tree with a Sunburst.
Right.
And and Ben Walters, he's a year out, I think.
Yeah.
But as far as everybody else, they're within the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, I just to backtrack just a little bit, you started the USA Luthier Forum, and that ran for a while, and you had these herringbones, all these 30s and 40s herringbones, and you said, I want to get a good collection of mahoganies, Sunburst mahogany 18 style guitars, and I want to do USA builders on them. And then we talked about, what all had come through, and, just a lot of the really good stuff. Again, small shop stuff. It's not Martin or Collings or, anything like that. It's all very small shop stuff. And then you started ordering these up. And, oh man, so like you said, Wayne Henderson. You got the Henderson. That's all. Well, it's probably actually been sprayed by now.
No doubt it.
And you got John Arnold.
Marty's is still on the table.
Yep.
Marty Laham.
Yep, Marty Lanham, Nashville Guitar Company, and his will be done. I think what did he said by August? I think is what he had originally projected.
Well, I saw where you had made a comment on doing these videos that we just done that your fingers are sore.
Yeah.
Do I need to bring less the next time?
Well, I mean, we've done about 10 of them. I mean, that's a lot of guitars.
Yeah.
I don't think there's not going to be that many more come through, I guess, unless you keep expanding it.
Well, I think the 18 was a good idea because I haven't got to the point that I put the value in vintage 18s that some people does.
Right.
But now you can sell me a good herringbone.
Yeah.
And but an 18, and some people loves them better, and I know you like mahogany better.
Well, that's debatable. It is. It's very
debatable. I definitely did not need any more Brazilian.
Yeah.
And when I owned the 30s.
Yeah.
And then I take a few days off, and the phone rings, and well, it's a text, and I'd owned this Arnold Brazilian.
Right.
Well, this makes the third time.
Yeah.
And the guitar is just 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, as long as these guys' wives want to buy horses and stuff like that, I can get these guitars back.
I had a guy call me a while ago. He was talking about selling a mandolin. And I said, well, what are you going to do that for? And he said, well, my wife's wanting a Louis Vuitton purse. And I said, man, why don't you get that Temu app or something, order a knockoff. I guess it's hard to get a knockoff horse. I mean,
if somebody's calling and talking to you about buying a guitar, and if they say they're going to talk to their wife, don't lose no sleep waiting on that call coming back, because some of them are very well supported. I think what I saw of Stigma, the kids and the ladies, they were just as big in it as I mean,
absolutely.
I loved going up there and seeing those crowds of young people, and they had been supported to the point that they was several of them had some pretty high-end guitars. But you don't have to have that. I mean, if they you can take a $300 guitar, and I mean, I'm still playing the same chords now I was playing at 10 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess I could learn more, but I just don't want to. I'd rather see all the friends gather around and play the guitars, and I can get in a little bit.
I think, because your name has come across this channel and forums and things so many times that a lot of people don't, they haven't put a character with the name, and they don't realize that, like over at Adventure Village, how many people that come over there that rent a cabin or a campsite, and you enjoy people who appreciate good guitars playing the guitars.
Oh yeah, I've had them come in before and turn their head and see the guitars, and they'll say, well, what's the deal with the guitars? And of course I play in church, and I think that is, well, that's where I first really got interested at, is I hadn't played for years, hadn't been in church for years, and so I went and I got me a guitar that was easy to chord. I bought me a Taylor 414 with electronics in it. And those things are so easy to chord. And you can adjust it with little screws, And so I got that guitar, and I was learning to play again. I had a YouTube screen, and all at once I thought to myself, I wonder what makes the guitar sound the way it does. And I had full intentions. I had been in business since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And I had full intentions that I was going to retire, and I was going to enjoy picking a few guitars.
Right.
But first thing I knew, they was coming in every day and leaving every day. Man, I made this big circle. I started with Martin, Gibson, and Taylor, and I thought they were all good guitars. But Martin had more used ones out there for me to buy than Gibson or Taylor. And so, I mean, as far as I know, at that given time, I had bought just about everything Martin made, And of course I would sell it, and I couldn't keep it. And then I thought to myself, what am I going to do now? And so I bought an Aaron Samaji, Greenfield out of Canada, Ryan Olson, because I wanted to go back from mass production to the one guitar being built.
Yeah.
And they were fabulous guitars, but most of my friends played Martins, Gibsons, and Taylors.
Right.
And so I felt, especially going to church, I felt like that, you know how this Samaji headstock is.
Yes.
They're just like nothing else. And so I found out the guitars didn't really fit me and my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, what about the one man that builds a traditional guitar?
Mm-hmm.
And that really, really took interest because it was country music, gospel music that could be played with that guitar, and
Right.
and that was the kind of music that I grew up in. So it was a big loop, and I might have wound up in the same place I started. I don't know.
But you learned a lot along the way.
I sure did.
And you got this collection. I mean, we got Bob and Darren Altman,
Yeah.
then Arnold, John Arnold, Wayne Henderson. We mentioned Wayne, and Rufus Thames,
Hooper,
Judge Wolf.
Judge Wolf, yeah.
Judge Wolf, and you mentioned Marty Lanham over at Nashville Guitar Company.
Yeah.
And
did you mention
Caleb
Edmonds?
Smith? Yeah,
Edmonds,
Jimmy Edmonds and Jim Merrill. Just bunch out of Virginia.
I didn't even know Judge Wolf built guitars.
Yeah, I mean we had a few things through that Judge had repaired.
Yeah,
we had
put together.
We had a 40s that someone had inherited that had been left under the bed, and the guitar was perfectly fine, but the hide glue had failed, just it being tuned under tension for so many years, and Judge put it back together, and I mean, man.
And he spent a lot of time with me on the phone.
Yeah, and it was so amazing because that guitar, you couldn't even tell it had been worked on. And man, it was one of my favorite 40s, 18s I've ever played.
It was rear shifted scallop.
Yeah. Judge had done that, and I guess he don't get a lot of time to build guitars because he's so popular in the repair and restoration business.
Well, it's kind of like John Arnold, I mean, the Brazilian one that I have now is number 83, and to my knowledge, he hasn't built a guitar since he built that one for Wayne at the festival.
Yeah, back last year.
And so I don't know whether it's 84, 85 or whatever that my tree is going to be, but
right.
We bought some real good tops from John Arnold.
John's Will Bird over there in Brevard.
Yeah, we put an Arnold top on that.
John Will Bird, and Nathan Wright, his has an Arnold top on
it. To me, it's worth the money.
Yeah. John's knowledge of anything in the guitar world, John's knowledge just it can't be surpassed. And his products.
Let me tell you what I plan on doing with this collection. I was going to take them. I was going to use them and enjoy them in my lifetime, and then me and my son was going to have a museum picked out that we were going to put the guitars in.
Right.
And a little bit of a history about the builder, and then have a video so that they can hear you playing the guitar. All the guitars the same. And so when I got to the place that I had owned several 30s herringbones, I figured, well, when it's over for me, somebody's going to buy the herringbones, and that's over. It's over.
Right.
It's over. The story ends.
Yeah.
And but with the U.S. Luthier collection, it will be generations. My great grandpa used to build guitars, and and they've got some of his guitars displayed at a certain location, and so it was something that I could do. And I love playing those guitars. Don't get me wrong. You know I like to buy them. But
we like to buy them and play them as good as anybody.
But I get to looking. What I play in church. I do that. But what I've not been in it 50 years. I don't have the history that these people have.
Right.
And I can't go back and change that. But what I can do, and what I've determined was the best idea, was to make a contribution to what they build. Not exactly like Popcorn Sutton or nothing like that, but make a contribution to what they build, and I just pay them the regular rate. Because I want them to succeed. And the thing that would hurt them more than anything is not to get paid for what they are selling. So I pay them the full price, and I buy the best material. And I think with the videos, but anyway. We're going to take a wall and we're going to create a mirror. The whole wall will be a mirror. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to offset the guitar hangers about 8 or 10 inches so that when, and when you go to look at jewelry, you know how they know how to do that lighting, and you really want it real bad. Yeah. And so I'm going to do the lighting that way and put a lid on it, and velvet inside of it. And so when they walk down through there, they're going to be able to see the front and the backs of the entire guitar. Yeah. And be able to hear it, be able to play it. I'm going to have, I'll open the door, 2 guitars, open the door, 2 guitars. And they're made to play, and then I'm gonna put my humidifier and everything in under the guitar so that it comes up into there. And so I'll keep a few vintage guitars to take to the sales, the guitar shows, in order to be able to pay my way. But I'm going to take that collection around, and wherever there's a show at, then the collection will be displayed there.
Yeah. And the tree guitars, we got 3 of them in there. We already talked about John Arnold and Wayne Henderson. Those are both tree, and then Joshua Young. Mm-hmm. His was the most recent one completed, and his is tree. And man,
the Sean Brock edition, Jimmy Edmonds. That's some of the most tight mahogany that you're ever going to see.
Curly mahogany.
I'm not so sure that the tree would have offered anything that piece of mahogany didn't.
Jimmy. He. That's just a beast of a guitar. All of them are.
He hand delivered it. He said, "I'll come down there and bring it to you." Yeah. And so I did. He brought it down there and picked up some Calton cases, and I got a little mahogany wood. I'm gonna take split up between him and Wayne. So it's just a good time.
Yeah. And Lynn Dudenbostel, we got one of Lynn's Sunburst in there. And
that was a hard one.
You've owned that one before.
I might have that 3 times too. But I had Madagascar, Sunburst. I don't know how many of those things that I had, but I did not know where but one D-18 Sunburst was at. Yeah. And I had owned it and sold it to this man. Well, this man knew that I had a D45 Dunebostel, and he knew how much I wanted that Sunburst, and he got well paid. But it fit the collection,
Right,
you know,
right.
and that was my goal. And it's a good sounding guitar too.
It is. It is. They're all so good, you know, and they're all slightly different and all just good, you know, at the same time. And I just think it's important for people to know, just because you've expressed it to me several times, that you want people to be able to play these, and they're not something that you're selling. If somebody wants a Rufus Thames or a Joshua Young or a Jimmy Edmonds or whoever, Ben Walters, anybody on the list, Will Bird, any of these guys, you know, go buy you one.
They call me and they say, I want to buy that guitar. And I explain to them that it's not for sale, but I also give them the information on how they can get one. In other words, I'm not a dealer for anybody. The cheapest and the best relationship is between the buyer, the builder, and the seller, the builder and the buyer. And they can build relationships that way. And another thing that this has you've got people that has building lists that are so long they don't go buy them. They don't even go buy the list anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they can sell guitars and got a waiting line but there's some of these luthiers that have built some of the ones that we already have. They are outstanding D-18 guitars.
Right.
And they may have a year wait.
Right.
You know, Bob Altman and Darren, when I called Darren, he said, we're in a situation where we can start the guitar and have it done. It's like 45 days.
Right, right.
You know, so, Darren is in there in the shop now, and I think him and his daddy's working really good together, and I think they're putting out some good stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll have one very, very soon, and we'll do a video of it.
Right.
And put the website up there and everything. And I know one thing, as far as material put in an instrument, I think that Bob and Darren look for the best that they can get.
They do, and you know, I've always admired Bob. Bob would buy tops in 99, 2000, 2001, and you know, he'd put them by good stock, and he would just lay them up. He would lay them up, and he wouldn't be building with them right away. He would let them just naturally air dry over the years, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference.
Yeah, it does, and you know, people. As the materials change, I mean, I don't think anybody would deny that the 30s Brazilian is better than what they can get today. Mm-hmm. You know, so you can get Ben Wilburn built me a guitar, and they traced that wood back to 1890. Mm-hmm. And but it's not going to perform like an old guitar.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's going to be a difference in how that guitar is sealed together, and the age of the wood and the vibration of it and everything. But it doesn't. You hear people all the time, you know, I'd give anything just to be able to play it. They can play it, and I've met some friends that I probably will make a trip to their house to just let them play the guitar and meet them because they've become such close friends.
Right,
you know?
right.
So, yeah, I sold a herringbone the other day, and the guy told me, he said, it looks like you're going more back into modern guitars. And they may be more in numbers, but they're not more in money.
No, that's for sure. But we're videoing all these, and we're going to put out one a week. And starting this week, I think we identified for no apparent reason than folks has got a little more time on their hands. We're going to put these out on a Tuesday evening, just from now all the way until the collection is done, which, the majority of it will be out over the next 2.5 months, doing one a week, but we'll still have Caleb Smith, Ben Walters, a couple things that are coming in, even a little bit later. But it's
one of the things that I wanted. You've got these young people like Joshua, 23, isn't it?
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, and they need to know as soon as they can whether they're going to be able to make a living building guitars.
Right.
And they've got to have orders, and they can buy a young guitar and be an outstanding guitar to play, and then still be on the list for somebody else 4 years down the road.
Right.
They don't have to. There's a lot of good builders out there, and the young ones that are coming on that are doing so well, they just need some security for their family.
Right.
And if you've got somebody that can turn out a guitar like these guys do, I don't want to lose them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to watch. We always think about Wayne, or the stories about getting guitars from Wayne and things, but it's amazing to watch nowadays. A Joshua Young or a Nathan Wright or Rufus Thames,
right.
That are just a few of the people, or Ben Walters. Those are a few of the people who have started building guitars just during the time that we have been active doing what we're doing.
Yeah,
And then you see them start building up lists, of a year, 2, 3, 4 years.
Ben's built like 9 or something.
Yeah.
But now
he's backed up for a year.
Yeah, he's got somebody, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's got somebody that done a YouTube video on his guitars now. I mean, I got on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but I think I asked John Arnold. I said, will the idea work? And I sure hoped it would, because I'd already invested so much in it. But I knew I was going to play them and enjoy them anyhow. But John told me, he said, there's been people that's had such ideas, but they haven't matured.
Right.
Now, if this don't mature, it'll be some catastrophic disaster, because there's money set aside to finish it off.
Right.
Right. And they're not for sale, but you can play them as long as you want to.
Right. And if somebody wants one, they can, they hear a guitar they like, they can look on the used market, or they go to the builder, get on the list, and there's that's just about all there is to it.
Yeah, they can start at the beginning of that display, and they can say, I don't like that guitar, and then they go to the next one. I like this guitar. And they go right on down the line till they get to the end of the line, and they've probably narrowed it down in half by then.
Right.
All right. So then they play the ones that they did like again. And then they come to a conclusion. And then they can act on that. If somebody's got a 4-year waiting list, I ran into a situation where I was going to have to wait 4 or 4.5 years on one.
Mm-hmm.
But I found one that was just a year old.
Right.
And it was in perfect shape. And people that have played it says that that's a strong guitar for the builder.
Yeah.
So, and you kind of get, when you get started, the idea really don't end, because if somebody comes carrying in a guitar, let's say that one of the builders builds a guitar and it goes in that collection, and then he builds one that he thinks will trump it, then he may want to come and swap out.
Right.
And put another guitar in there. Yeah. That'd be nothing. It'd be the same builder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not happened, but there's a lot of different angles that you can bring people closer together, and talking about these guys that are up and coming, that are younger. They've got that information from the elder builders, the seasoned builders.
Right.
In other words, the plans for a 37 herringbone guitar is well documented.
Right.
And so it's just whether you want to put that piece of wood in there and leave that little gap, or whether you want to fix it.
Right. I know that people are going to enjoy these videos, and I mean, this is we were talking about what we did like with pre-war, and it wasn't just pre-war. There was
Blazer and Hanks,
Markland, and there were several Martin guitars. Some of the first run of the new D-18 Authentics that they came out of the custom shop. You said,
I bought the first 3 off the assembly line.
Yeah, you said, I want to get these. I want to make a video so people know what they're going to sound like.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was just that, just contributions, to the business, that the whole thing ain't just always about making money. And like this thing here, it's not making any. Hopefully, it's making builders money, and
it will make builders money, and it'll make builders security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know people are going to sure look forward to hearing these, and I'm glad you come on to do this, man. We're way overdue.
No way I was going to pay to ship that many guitars.
Well, yeah, you're only 3 hours away. It cost a man in Fort Knox to ship all them.
Yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we might have spent a little bit more than freight. But I can tell you right now, we've eaten some good steak over at that steakhouse too.
Buddy, I appreciate you, man.
Listen, I love you.
I
appreciate everything that you've done for me.
I hope people enjoy these guitars, these videos, these guitars, and I hope that when they get the chance to come out and play them, or come over to Adventure Village, and get them Brevard's such a beautiful place. They get them a campsite or a cabin or something other, and and come in and just get to see these things and play them.
I think I'm gonna, if nothing don't change, I'm gonna go to, this is Wayne's last festival,
right? Yes,
and I'm supposed to pick up the John Arnold there,
right?
And
Wayne's guitar will be done by then too.
I don't know. I didn't say this, but I since I left Laptop in North Carolina, I wasn't able to post all the pictures of it, but Wayne Henderson built that guitar for me with my daddy's pocket knife.
Right. Yeah.
He
double special.
Yeah, Daddy collected case knives, and I've got pictures of Wayne building the guitar with that knife.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You can put the knife in the case under the guitar, and the display.
No, I shipped it special. It was another idea,
Yeah.
These ideas evolve, And,
Yeah. Well, I'm saying when you display the guitar, you can put the knife in the display,
Yeah. It'll lay right there, and the collection will never be split up, so there won't be. You won't make a trip to play them and them not be there.
Right.
They'll be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man, and y'all subscribe and check these videos out every Tuesday from now until whenever we can complete it. We appreciate you guys and take care.